Good early morning, everybody. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. It's August 8, 2024. I'd wanted to record this earlier, but these criminals, the control freaks, they like to use radio frequencies to put me to sleep while I'm in the middle of working. It's not bad. It's not enough for them to steal my personal belongings, vandalize my property, but they also steal my time. But anyway, I had asked AI this question. I was really curious what the response was going to be, given all of the police using excessive force on the public. So I asked AI, why are so many police using excessive force and being sued? Who trains the police to act so aggressively? Why are these abusive and criminal acts denied by police departments, and how can we stop this? So the response I received was, the issue of police using excessive force is multifaceted, and it involves several underlying factors. Understanding these aspects is crucial in addressing and mitigating the problem. Factors contributing to police use of excessive force. 1. Training and culture. Some police training programs emphasize a quote-unquote warrior mentality, focusing on officer survival and control over community engagement and de-escalation techniques. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. This can lead to more aggressive approach to law enforcement. The culture within police departments can sometimes prioritize loyalty and a code of silence over accountability, contributing to the continuation of abusive behaviors. Lack of accountability. Inadequate mechanisms for accountability, such as insufficient oversight, weak internal review processes, and powerful police unions, can protect officers from consequences of misconduct. Qualified immunity. A legal doctrine in the United States can make it difficult to hold police officers accountable in civil lawsuits. Yeah, we need to get rid of that. We need to abolish qualified immunity. Number 3, racial and economic bias. Systemic racism and implicit bias can influence how officers perceive and interact with individuals from different racial and socioeconomic backgrounds, leading to disproportionate use of force against marginalized communities. Number 4, stress and mental health. Policing is a high-stress job and can take its toll on an officer's mental health, potentially leading to poor judgment and aggressive behavior if not addressed through support and mental health resources. Yeah, and they love to project that onto their public, though, right? Yeah. Nobody's talking about their mental health. Training and aggression. Warrior training. Some training programs stress the dangers police face and the need to assert control quickly in potentially dangerous situations, sometimes leading to an overemphasis on using force. Sort of like, with Sonia Massey, that woman who called at 1 o'clock in the morning. She heard prowlers outside, and then when the police literally came into her house when they should have just left, the woman's wearing a nightgown and boiling water for tea or whatever, and then the police officer shoots her in the face. Yeah. I guess that was a de-escalation procedure, and he had to react to being for a skinny little woman in a nightgown boiling water for coffee. That was a really potentially dangerous situation. Certain private training companies promote aggressive tactics, sometimes independently of official departmental training programs. The lack of emphasis on de-escalation. Insufficient training in de-escalation techniques, communication skills, and conflict resolution can result in officers resorting to force prematurely. The denial and justification of abusive acts. Number 1, institutional protection. Police departments often deny or justify abusive acts to protect their officers and the institution's reputation, fearing loss of public trust and legal repercussions. The blue wall of silence, quote unquote, can discourage officers from reporting misconduct by their peers. Number 2, public perception and trust. Admitting to abuses can damage public trust, which is already fragile in many communities, leading departments to downplay or deny incidents of excessive force. So what are the solutions to reduce police excessive force? Number 1, reforming the training programs. Emphasize de-escalation techniques, community engagement, and mental health training. Incorporate bias training to address and mitigate implicit biases. Number 2, increasing accountability. Establish independent oversight bodies to investigate police misconduct. I agree with that. Reform qualified immunity to allow for greater accountability in civil lawsuits. I vote we ban qualified immunity. There should be no such thing. If a cop commits an act, a criminal act, he or she should suffer the consequences just the way you and I would. Implement body cameras and ensure the footage is reviewed and used appropriately. And I will add that if they're going to be responsible for a body camera, that body camera needs to remain on. And if they turn it off, they should be fired. Number 3, enhancing community relations. Promote community policing models that bring trust and cooperation through police officers and the communities they serve. Encourage community involvement in policing decisions and policy making. Number 4, supporting officer wellness. Provide mental health resources and support for officers to help them cope with the stress of the job. Foster a culture within police departments that priorities and well-being of officers and encourages them to seek help when needed. And that would go for drug and alcohol counseling. And that drugs also include steroids. Number 5, policy and legislative changes. Advocate for legislative changes that address systemic issues within policing, such as reforming use of force policies and improving transparency in police operations. Addressing the issues of police excessive force requires a comprehensive approach that involves changes in training, accountability, community relations, and policy reforms. So I was really curious what AI had to say, and I, pretty much agree with this response. In fact, AI's response to this was not biased at all. It seemed very reasonable. Some of the responses that AI gives is not all that reasonable. It seems protective, because of the way it's programmed. But I feel like these contributing factors to police use of excessive force is fairly accurate. The lack of accountability, the training and culture, racial and socioeconomic bias, stress and mental health. And this warrior training, I would like to know who is actually training them. Because they're talking about some training programs, but they don't really discuss what the training programs are and who is putting on these training programs. And maybe I needed to reword the question. But anyway, I look forward to your questions and comments on this. And have you, or do you know of anybody that experienced abusive acts by police, by a police department? Has any excessive force been used upon you or family member or somebody that you know? Leave a comment down below. Remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And I'm going to sign off for now.